Hello, welcome to another video about the Aventuria Almanac, and this time we're going to talk about this region here, which contains the kingdoms Nostria and Andergast. And there is a more detailed map of this region. The kingdoms are in this area, and just imagine a border in the center here that separates Nostria on the west and Andergast in the east. And there is not too much to say about these regions because they are rather small and underdeveloped. Other people in Aventuria who are living in more advanced kingdoms are looking down on them a bit. You can imagine them like being in the early medieval age, where the rest of Aventuria is in parts in the late medieval age or even has influences from the Renaissance. And the culture in both kingdoms is pretty similar, although they really don't like to hear this, because they have been at war for over 2,000 years, or nearly 2,000 years. The kingdoms once belonged to the old empire, the Bosporanian Empire, and separated about 2,000 years ago, and ever since that time they are in a war, and the territory around the border is always changing sides. And there's one city in the middle here called Yoborn that is constantly the scenery for fights and battles, and it changes sides constantly. And at one point during a war, a chosen one of Raya, the goddess of love and sexuality and wine and feasts, and prayed to the goddess and used a holy artifact to stop a fight in Yoborn. And instead of fighting, the soldiers started to celebrate an orgy in the city, which really didn't get along very well with the king of Andergast, because after that he closed all the temples of Raja in Andergast and forbid the church of Raya in Andergast. And another reason why people think these regions are underdeveloped, or especially Andergast is underdeveloped and not very advanced, is because they have a strong separation of men and women. Women are considered not as qualified as men in a lot of areas, and there are a lot of professions they are not allowed to learn, and it would be very unlikely, or it doesn't happen that a woman becomes a knight or something which is very common in all other regions of Aventuria, and also in Nostria in the west. But in Andergast that is not the case. In both kingdoms they worship the 12 gods, especially Peraine, the goddess of farmers, so to say, and in Nostria also, as they have a coast, the god of the seas, Effort, is very important. And in Andergast, for the noble people, for the noblemen, the goddess Rondra is important, the goddess of honor and fighting and war. But the belief in both regions is very much influenced by nature. They believe in a lot of spirits of natures and mythical creatures, and that influences somehow the belief in the 12 gods, or exists side by side with the belief in the 12 gods. An important role in the druids in Andergast play an important role as wise people and as people you would ask for help. Something that is in a part they play a role of priests in other regions, and that is something that is not really much liked by the real chosen ones of the 12 gods, but it has a long tradition in Andergast. In Nostria there are not so many druids. It's more they have witches which take this role of being powerful. Somehow they are looked at suspiciously, but on the other hand, they are sought out for help if someone needs a cure for something or similar things. These regions are the typical beginners or starting regions for the Dark Eye. That it was established in the 4th edition, and there are a few short campaigns playing in these regions, and the regions are especially good for starting regions because they are pretty traditional. They are a typical knights and medieval setting, like you would know it from Earth. And also they are not very important kingdoms with very strong structures between it's not so difficult, for example, to get into contact with the king of one of the kingdoms, because they are not very important and he is on the level like some lower nobility, or not like the emperor in the Midden Realm. So in these campaigns you could really meet pretty quickly as an unknown adventurer the king of one of the empires, get in contact with him, and so on. And also this region is very good. It is not very densely populated. There's a lot of forest where you can hide all kinds of secrets and mythical things and magical things in it. It is close to the orc land, which allows you to place all kinds of orcish bandits in the region, or you can make an exploration into the orc land for some reason. It's close to Thorwald, which allows you to easily play someone from Thorwald, or also someone who has come with a Thorwaldian ship to Thorwald. For example, you could even play someone from the south, one of the wood forest people, because he might be freed from slavery by the Thorwaldians, and then he was brought to Thorwald, and now he has traveled to see more of the country or something, or he simply is there, and you could easily say now he is for some reason in Andergast in Nostria. Also that they have a coast here, you can say all kinds of people traveled here for trade or something on a boat, and you can play these characters. And in the south you have the Midden Realm, which also allows you to play Midden Realmians or anybody from this region or who is in the region. This region is also one that gets the first source books and material. The things have already been released in German, and there was a source book released for it, a special equipment book, which explains all the equipment in the source book in detail. Then there was even a CD with typical music you could play in the background for your adventures. There was an in-game text about two knights traveling in Nostria and Andergast and talking about their view of the world and what they encounter in the territories. There is a map pack for the region with different maps, political, geographical, just a map, maps of different cities and towns. And what else? An adventure book playing here with one adventure that heavily relies on the source book with the description of the region. You don't necessarily need the source book. If you are a seasoned The Dark Eye player, you don't need it. You know already these regions. But if you want to improve or spice up the description of the region and the play in the region with very typical things, then the adventure points to a lot of descriptions in the source book about the region to give you a more detailed description and to allow you to improve your description of the region with very typical regional things. What else was there? Yeah, there's also a card pack with a description of all the rules that are in the source book. As a quick reference, you can use these cards. And I think that was everything. Maybe I've forgotten one or two things that were already released. You don't need all these things, but if you want to play in this region and think, I want to play a very traditional knight from that region, you get a detailed description of everything, plus typical equipment, detailed description of this equipment, so you can talk in very detail about how awesome the swords or the equipment from your region is, and how it is better than that of the evil Nostrians and or the rest of Aventuria. So that's all I wanted to say about these regions. As I said, there's not too much to say about them, but nevertheless they are interesting to play in, and I'm not quite sure if they are going to bring out several short campaigns for beginners in this region. So far I think they have not, but for the third edition there were, I think, 2 of them. So if you have any more questions, then feel free to ask. Otherwise, that's it for now. Thank you for your attention, and bye till the next video.